There are some money lessons that I wish I had learned a long time ago. So I thought I would share 7 of them for you, 7 money lessons, just in case they help somebody else avoid a lot of the financial mistakes that I have made. So let's get into those. I'm Tara Wagner, breakthrough coach and lifelong entrepreneur. I help other entrepreneurs use a holistic approach to business so they can create profits they can depend on without burning themselves out. If that sounds like your jam, give this video a thumbs up. Be sure to check out the other videos on my channel as well, and check out the Breakthrough Boss Inner Circle below to learn more about how I can support you. All right, 7 money lessons I wish I had learned a long time ago, also known as 7 money mistakes I wish that I had not made, and hopefully can help you avoid. Number 1, retirement funds are not just about retirement. I really thought in my 20s, I'm not gonna retire, I'm gonna work forever, because when people retire, they just kind of go downhill, and that's just not who I am, and I love what I do, and I'm just not going to retire. So it doesn't really matter if I'm saving up money or if I'm taking money out of my retirement. Oh my gosh, I wish that I had understood this sooner. It's not about retiring. It's not about stopping working and sitting on your butt and doing nothing for the rest of your life. It's about options. It's about choices. When I was 20, I didn't know where my body, where my health would be now at almost 40. Because of that, we're now scrambling to catch up, to give ourselves choices when we're 50, when we're 60, so that if we can't work, or if we need to work in a different way, or maybe we want to travel, we want to have choices. And that's what a retirement fund is about. It's not about saving to eventually enjoy your life. It's about paying your future self so that your future self has more options, because you don't know what the future is going to bring. This was just one of those things that I was just naive about and pretty immature about and pretty stubborn about. And then when I get into my mid 30s, it was like, oh, wait a second. I'm starting to get it now. And now we're scrambling. So if I could save anybody from this mistake, it would be, as soon as you can, 18 years old, start putting money aside. Pay your future self so that your future self has more options no matter what the future might hold. Let me know in the comments if you felt the same way. You really don't have a plan to retire. You don't actually want to stop working because you love what you do. Number 2 is kind of along the same lines, falls under the same mistake that I made in my 20s. It is compound interest is magical. And I didn't understand that. So when we were saving money, it was what does it matter if we're saving $100 a month? I could use that $100 now versus I save it and I get $102 or $101 or whatever I was getting at the time. It wasn't much. I did not understand compounding interest. I didn't understand that things start off really slow and then get really high. I actually didn't understand this until I read the Slight Edge book. And it really explained it just in terms of our personal habits and choices. And then I started to realize, oh my gosh, it's the same with our finances. Yes, we're not gonna see much, but then it starts taking off and it gets really, really fun and really, really magical. And so if I'd understood that sooner, if I'd understood what compounding interest really was and really meant and really looked like, I could have been much more patient saving money ahead of time versus I need the $100 now, and so I just need to spend it now. And that was true, at the time I did need that money. But I think if I'd really understood it, I would have figured out a way to save something versus saving nothing at all. Number 3 was a really big one for me. This was one I only learned probably 3 or 4 years ago. Budgeting is for bosses, not just for broke people. Now, you need to understand, we grew up broke. Poor. My mom was working 3 jobs and we were always on a budget. So in my mind, every time I wanted to buy something and we couldn't because we were on a budget, I turned that into, you're on a budget when you're broke. You're only on a budget when you're broke. So when we got older and we started having success in our life and our businesses, we started having money, we were getting multiple 6 figures, and yet we were still broke because we didn't understand the concept of budgeting. So we couldn't save, we were struggling with our emergency fund, we were still struggling with retirement at this time. And it wasn't until a financial advisor sat down and said, okay, well, where's your budget? And I was like, well, we don't need a budget, we have plenty of money. No, you need a budget. you need a budget. I have a couple videos on business budgeting as well, because it's not just personal budgeting. Like, you need a personal budget and your business needs a budget as well. And understanding this, oh my gosh, like, this changed everything for us. All of a sudden, we were able to save massive amounts of money because we were making good money, but we were just blowing it left and right because we didn't have any direction for that money. We weren't paying ourselves first. We weren't doing anything with it other than it's in our bank account, and so we don't need to check our bank account when we go to buy something. We can just buy it. Oh my gosh, it was a disaster. So budgeting is for when you are broke and when you are kind of somewhere in the middle and when you are making lots of money. The more you budget, the more you have an understanding of where your money is, where it's going, where it's coming from, and the more you can actually direct that flow so that it doesn't just flow out the door, which is what I spent way too many years experiencing. Comment below, let me know if you ever felt the same way, that budgeting was just something you did when you were broke and not something you did when you were actually making money. Number 4 is that investing also needs to happen for yourself. You need to be investing in knowledge and in skills, because knowledge and skills is what's going to allow you to earn more money, to save more money, to know how to invest that money, to be able to be financially secure. And one of the most important things I think you can invest in is financial knowledge and financial skills, because how many of us were taught this in school? Like none. We don't grow up learning how to manage the number one resource in our life that allows us to have everything else that we want in our life, right? Even the intangible things, your relationships, the time that you spend with people, fulfillment, those things are still served by your financial stability, or they're destroyed by your financial instability. So it's so important that we're investing in the knowledge and the skills that will allow us to become financially wise, to know how to manage our money, to know how to balance our books, to know how to budget, to know how to do the things that are going to make us financially stable. Money lesson number 5 that I wish I had learned sooner is that numbers are your friend, in part because they never lie. They may not be able to tell you the entire truth, but they will never lie about what you're facing, what you need to be doing, what's working, what's not working. This was something that I didn't know for a long time. I really shied away from numbers, in part because the way that I was taught math just didn't fit with my learning style. I probably wasn't at all ready for it, and it wasn't applicable to me at the time. And I think this is the case for most of us, right? Like, the way that we experience numbers and math in school is so much different than when it's applicable to us. So once it started to become applicable and I started to wake up and realize, like, I need to get my financial shiz together, I was really able to sit down and learn that it's not that scary. It's not that big of a deal. They're just truth tellers. And yeah, the truth can feel a little uncomfortable, but oh my gosh, will it set you free? If I had known this sooner, I feel like oh God, I feel like so many of my problems would have been solved, because again, it just comes down to those knowledge and skills, right? If we think that numbers are the enemy, we're gonna lack the knowledge, we're gonna lack the skills, and therefore we're gonna lack the results that we need to get from them. Money lesson number 6, money follows solutions and service. It doesn't follow your passion. You can be really passionate about something, but if there's not a solution to that thing, if you're not solving problems for other people, you're not gonna make a lot of money from it, right? If you are not serving people, like really showing up in your business with a desire to show up to serve, to really support your clientele, you're not gonna make money. I see this a lot right now. I see a lot of business owners who are not showing up to serve, they're showing up to get served. And then they're wondering why they're struggling. Well, you've got your focus backwards, right? I see a lot of business owners who want to make money doing what they love, but if what they love doesn't solve a problem for other people, why are those other people going to pay you for it, right? Now, it doesn't have to solve like a crucial life-threatening problem. It could just be like, I need more joy in my life, I need more art in my life, I need more fun in my life. Either way, the size of the problem that you solve is going to relate to the size of the financial reward that you get. And if the problem that you solve is not big enough, or you solve it for people who do not feel that it's big enough, that's going to impact how much money you make. It doesn't matter what you think you're worth. It doesn't matter how much you want to make. It matters, am I serving somebody else with the thing that is actually solving their problem, and a problem that's big enough, and the bigger the problem I can solve, the more I'm gonna get rewarded for that. I didn't realize that. I really thought that Money followed hard work. Money followed your passions. Money followed all of these other things that really have nothing to do with it. Money follows service and solutions. The more you provide a service that stands out, that really connects with people, the bigger solutions that you provide or the bigger problems that you help to solve, the more financial gain you're gonna have. Simple as that. It's literally that. The marketplace will determine how much money you make, not you. And I know that that's a radical statement because yes, there's truth to the fact that you can determine how much money you make, but not without serving the market, right? And yeah, gosh, if I'd known this one sooner, like I would have been a much more generous person. I would have stopped worrying about people taking advantage of me, and I would have just shown up to serve those people with boundaries, like doing it in a healthy, holistic, realistic way, but not expecting without giving. Man, this is such a tricky one because I really don't believe that we need to overgive in our business. You know, like you hear people talk about like just give, and then that will come back to you. It's not that either. Like, yes, you do need to give, but you still need to like receive at the same time. You can give lots and be an amazing person and serve a lot of people and solve a lot of problems, but you still have to like make sure that as you're giving, you're receiving. It's a tricky conversation to have, but my point is, just because you want it doesn't mean you've earned it. And you gotta really like solve problems for people and have the business acumen to know how to bring in finances from that. Like it's much more logical than it is emotional. And that was something that I just didn't get for the longest time. Comment below, let me know if you ever felt the same way, that budgeting was just something you did when you were broke and not something you did when you were actually making money. Number 7. Number 7 would have pissed me off 20 years ago if I'd heard myself say this. Might piss some of you off. Money can buy happiness. Yeah, it really can. I am a much happier person when I am financially stable. And here's the thing, like, is there a limit to that? Kind of, right? Like everybody will say like $70,000 is how much money you need to make, and anything after that, you're not gonna be happy. That's stupid. That just means they don't know how to use their money. Here's the thing, money is a resource. Money alone is not gonna buy happiness, but if you use your money to meet your needs for connection, needs for adventure, needs for fulfillment, needs for beauty, needs for time, right? Money buys things that can make us happy. Money allows us to have the lifestyle that we want with the people that we want it. And why would that not make us happy, right? Money by itself isn't gonna make us happy. Rolling around in a mattress full of money is not gonna make you happy. But having the financial resources to buy yourself time, to fill your home with things that inspire you, to go and, have amazing experiences with the people you love, that's gonna make you happy, and you need money for those things. This irritates me more now than it did in the past, because in the past I was broke and I wanted to believe that money couldn't buy me happiness because I didn't have any. And the thing is that mindset kept me broke for a long time. I resisted money in a way because it was like, well, that's not gonna make me happy and that's a bad thing. And I had all these connotations around what it meant to have a lot of money. And it irritates me because people who say money can't buy happiness, I feel like they're just keeping people down, right? Money solves problems for people. Problems are what create unhappiness. How would money not make people happy in that case? Anybody who can really, really say that and mean it has either not been really like dirt poor like I have, or financially struggling, or they just are, and maybe like me, they're just resisting the fact that this is gonna be the thing that solves the problems. And you're gonna have to figure out a way to gain the knowledge and gain the skills and find a way to increase your financial stability, because you don't have to have a ton of money, but you do have to have enough that you're not stressed out all the time. So much of our life, our problems in the past were caused because of financial stress. Our fights in our marriage were caused because of financial stress. Now, does it solve every single problem we've ever encountered? No, of course not. There's still work we need to do. But damn, I would rather do it with some financial stability than without it. Comment below, let me know if you agree with the idea that money can't buy happiness, or money can buy happiness if you're using it in a healthy way. All right, I have a bonus money lesson for you, but it's actually gonna be in the next video, so make sure that you're sticking around for that one. Also, make sure you check out the videos I have on 7 money books that I highly recommend that you read, as well as 7 money habits that actually make you money. And I'm not talking about stuff like making your bed, because that's not gonna make you money. So be sure to check out those videos. Comment below, let me know what one of your biggest money lessons was. And if you have any takeaways from this video, I would love to hear from you. Also, leave a fist bump if you made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Long, long time ago, shooby dooby dooby doo. I don't know why I'm singing.